diplomats. We are here with PezdeMer, the Mussolini of Nexus, also known as David, talking about his Season 6 Nexus Finals. It's not a long story, David, is it?
No, it's not long, but it's interesting. It was definitely not my game.
So, so far you've not thanked me for getting you into the game.
No. Okay, let's say that the formula of the tournament gave every player two games, two semi-final games to qualify for the finals. I played only one, and I was lucky. I could qualify with only one result, but I qualified with the 7th score, so I was the last one. I have to thank you for the semifinals because we were good allies at the end of the game.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Because you were the only former winner, were you worried about that? And were you worried about other players having played more games than you were able to, maybe working together? And during the selection, Tanjian, who played Turkey, and you were Austria, almost suggested that he wanted to work badly with Russia.
Yeah, let's say that it was something sure that Russia and Turkey were playing together. So it was very difficult for me to enter in this game. I don't like to play Austria very much, so it was not a good start.
Okay. So tell me about the opening negotiations with Italy, who I assume you were very you needed to cultivate in some way in the game. What was your thinking, and what did you try and do?
Okay, let's say that for the whole game, I could have no conversation with Turkey and with Germany. It was very strange, but in the whole game, I could not have any content. I could. We talk of other stuff, but not of the game. They were not available to me for me to speak. So I played as Austria without any information from Germany and from Turkey. And it was strange because, Tangan, that was Turkey, declared that he wanted to play with Russia. So he was my enemy. There was no possibility to...
he said that to you in press, or you just knew?
Yeah, but no, he said it in the interview.
Yeah.
In the press, I could not discuss with him about anything. So he simply was silent. We had a conversation about other things of our life, but no, it was not available to me for me to speak. It was impossible. And this is from Germany.
How did you try and address that with Russia?
I had a good conversation with Russia and a good conversation with Italy. At the beginning, with Italy, it was very difficult because he wanted to get Trieste without any doubt, and I didn't want him to enter my home supply centers. So it was quite hard. I wanted to play a Morean opening, and he didn't like it, because he didn't want me to enter the Ionian Sea. So we did something traditional. So I went to try to get Serbia and Greece, and he went to get Tunis without any problems between us.
Okay, so did you think at this point that you and Italy were working together, maybe not as efficiently as either of you wanted, but you're allies?
Okay, no, with Italy, the relationship was good at the beginning, and I had no other choice because Russia and Turkey were openly together. I had no communication with Germany. I had a very good communication both with Riaz in England and Philip in France, but for the whole game, I could not grow so to have a direct set of move with England or France. So I had good communication with Russia, that was my enemy, with England and France, and the one with Italy too. So we started as allies.
Do you believe in the theory that Austria and Germany should be working together as best they can, or do you not really care about that theory?
No, I think Austria and Germany should always work together, and Italy too. Germany is the key nation for both Austria and both Italy to have a good game. In fact, when at the beginning I saw that Germany was doing a mess, I was very worried because my fear was he was going to collapse in a couple of years.
Okay. Were you concerned that England would not put a lot of pressure on Russia in the beginning because of the Nexus all-around title?
No, let's say that Riyadh and Ewok, that are England and Russia, were in terrible relationships before the game. So I hoped they were going to have a hard fight. And at the beginning, I had no concerns about England being friendly with Russia.
Okay. So after the fall of 1901, and Italy gets a build, and it's very clear at this point that it's Russia and Turkey versus Italy. Italy here, of course, had to hold Venice a third time in a row, and the army in Tunis was stranded.
Let's say that it was the juggernaut against Italy, Austria. But Ewok was not so. He was available to speak, and he was planning to stab Turkey.
Oh, you thought he would turn?
Yeah, let's say that he told me that he was ready to stab Turkey, that I could have Bulgaria, and so it was not bad, because we started with Italy and Russia. We had an AIR, and we started planning to defeat Turkey, and then to go on as allies.
Do you know if this move to the Black Sea was a surprise or not to Turkey?
No. Yeah, we agreed about it, and it was the preparation for the stab to Turkey.
And is that the AIR? Is that the reason why you put a fleet into Bulgaria and not an army?
Yeah, because the agreement was that Italy was going to have Greece the next season.
Okay. And so as we move into fall, we can see you didn't give up Greece in fall of 1902, and then you move into Tyrolia. I think this is a key season for you, especially as Russia takes Ankara. Can you tell me what's going on in the east at this point?
Yeah, it was the key season in the good and in the bad, because I agreed with Ewok that we had to try to work together to win this game. So I was denying Greece, and I was getting Bulgaria. I wanted to get Venice too. In fact, my move from Vienna to Tyrolia was to prepare the stab to Italy. It was my mistake. I had to get it with the Trieste. So if I could get both Bulgaria and Venice, my game had changed in the very best way. Instead, we went on and I had and I could not get the seventh dot. Anyway, the reason because I stabbed Italy was because I wanted him to go west. I tried to make Italy. I would be available to give him Greece if he was going to attack France. But in all our conversation, he just wanted to have a good relationship with France and to come east. So I know that there was the risk of wintergreen, and I could not let Italy move all his units east.
So you move towards Italy in fall and you deny him Greece, but then when the spring comes, you back off. Is this you're worried about the chef or what changed?
It changed because I could not have the positive reaction from. No, I hoped that the scenario would have changed because Russia had stopped Turkey. Turkey was dying, and but Turkey was not available to do anything against Russia. So Turkey continued to be a Russian ally, and so I risked to be in the middle among Russia, Turkey, and Italy. And I had a very long conversation with Max, that was Italy, and we agreed that if I moved away from his border, I could get his alliance.
Okay,
But,
so you do that and like so if you had Italy on an alliance, then I assume at that point you didn't think Russia would be working with you.
No, because Ewok was, let's say that Ewok is a very good player. I think he could win this the tournament. But his way to speak, to conversate, is it becomes quite easy to read when you begin to have a game with him. So if Ewok speaks clearly, openly, he's sincere. He is sincere. If it begins to be less explicit, it means he's stabbing you. He never lies, but when
so
he tells nothing,
spoken with you and you suspected he would no longer work with you.
yeah, it was, and I tried to create some advantage for Tang Yang to work with me against him. But even if Russia had just stabbed Turkey, Turkey never let me an option, a possibility to work together.
Okay. And
I think I have thought about it. I played twice with Tanjan before this game, and in both games I was his allies, and I stabbed him and I soloed. So I think he didn't want to have this experience another time.
I see. I understand. He's been burned by you before, but you know that's kind of his risk when he's an alliance player like he is.
Yeah, he never trusted that we could work together.
So when we moved to fall 1904, I mean, you lose Bulgaria, you've lost Greece, Russia's attacking you, and you help France into Germany.
Yeah. At that moment, my only option was to do the same thing I did in the game we played together in the semifinals. In that game, I was Turkey, and I was almost dying in 1904. And I did what I could to help France and England to defeat the Eastern powers, and then I could recover. I tried to do the same in this game, because I repeat, I had no relationship with Germany. It was impossible for me to speak with him, and I felt at that point that Italy, Russia, and Turkey were coming to kill me. So I tried to help France to get closer as possible.
Do you think France might be working with Italy though?
But, the main thing I have to say about this game is that it was not my game, because you know, how I play. My negotiations are linked to the moves, to the move sets. In this game, it was all about keeping the conversation alive. So players played together, played one against the other, but they continued to conversate. And Philip was very clear with me at some point that the most important thing was never to stop the conversation. While instead I had no conversation with Germany and Turkey, and I didn't go on to talk with them. And the same for Italy and Russia. I could conversate with them, but I was sure that they were lying to me. So I was not able to play this game because I have not the style to continue to conversate with a player that has multiple times lied to me.
Okay, so I'm reading what you're saying is you're at some level hoping to hang on as best you can and let the EF get so big that you have a chance to recover.
Yeah.
And from here on, your game is mostly defensive, I would say.
Yeah, it's defensive. Let's say that at that point, my hope was that Russia and Turkey stabbed each other another time, while I hoped that England and France stayed together. In fact, it happened the opposite because England stabbed France, and so my only option that was to see them grow together was not possible anymore. And I had my only chance was to block them, but they had too many units for me to block them.
So there was a sort of a contest. I don't know who won, but they Lady Razor put you on the couch with Dr. Freud to talk about all your problems.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt bad for you. I actually thought there was a path to victory. I predicted you would win at one point, but the stab of by England against France was devastating to you.
Yeah, but it was the same as the semifinals. If you remember, I was trying to disturb Russia, making England and France having a good growth. But at some time, one of the two stabbed each other, or maybe both stabbed each other, and I was sure my game was over. Instead, in that game, they the turn after that, they began to work together again, and I could survive. In this game, France and England continued to fight each other and could never get a good relationship, while Turkey and Russia were always strong, and Italy helped them. So I think I had some good defensive moves, but I could not resist for long.
I mean, there's only so much you can do when there are three players against you, and you're Austria.
Yeah, it was my fault because I was in a hurry to grow at the beginning, so I stabbed Italy. Maybe that was my mistake because I stabbed him just for Greece, for keeping Greece, and could not have Venice too. So it was a 1-dot stab, and it was not sufficient to have an advantage in the next phases of the game.
As we go to 1905, am I right in thinking that you're just trying to survive and sell yourself to anybody trying to help Russia here, or what? Just like, who are you hating the most?
No. I don't hate anybody. I really like this game. I like everything it happens in its dynamics. So being stabbed is a part of the game. Losing is part of the game. And if you are not ready to lose, you cannot win games. So at this moment, I had almost no allies because my only good allies were fighting each other. So it was not possible to create anything useful, and I was disappearing from the map.
All right. And then in fall 1905, why does Vienna order a convoy?
Because Vienna was my capital, and the convoy is like it seems a crown, so it was the fall of the crown.
What is your read as we go into 1910 here? What is your read on what has happened in the East? It's sort of stunning to me that no alliance structure ever seemed to be stable or work.
Yeah, I think that Russia is in a very good spot, and the problem from my point of view is that Turkey was not a real enemy of Russia. So Turkish centers were always to be seen like Russian centers. Russia will not get all Turkish center, but Turkey was an ally of Russia from the beginning to the end of the game, even when it was reduced to 2 and just stopped by Russia. And I told Tanjan that he was going to be stabbed, that the move to Black Sea was not was hostile against him, but he never was ready to fight Russia. So it's a too big advantage for Russia to have a loyal Turkey, whatever it happens.
Well, the 1902 move, when it happened, was a stab.
Yeah.
So, do you think Russia will win?
I don't know. I think it's most likely Russia the champion of this season. I think 80%. The only way for the other players to avoid a Russian victory is to give each other supply centers, and I definitely don't like it. So
Tell me,
at the moment, maybe Russia deserves to win.
Tell me, as an insider, but also as an observer of England and France, what did you think of the English stab and the French reaction, and how that sort of dictated the rest of the game, in your view?
As I told you, it was devastating for me, the stab, and it was not. It was devastating for 2 reasons. Because France was in Piedmont, so Italy was very limited in his options. And let's say that when France was in Piedmont, Italy's game was, I'd say, over. But after the stab, France had to go back against England, so Italy recovered suddenly, and so it was very bad for me, because it was the break of my only alliance, and it was a very starting point for Italy to recover. But I think it was not it was not good for England too, because he had too many enemies, and at that point Germany began to play very well, because Germany was almost dead, and from that point he also could recover.
So, is there anything more about this game that you want to say that you haven't had a chance to say?
Well, let's say that it was a very strange game for me, because it was the perfect game in diplomacy, because until the very end of the game, it was very balanced. Russia is in the best spot, because he had a good dynamics with in the east, but no Western power is going to the east, no Eastern power is going to the west. It was really the game that had to be won. Never stopping the conversation with your enemies, never stopping conversation when your opponents tell you nonsense messages. So it was not my game because I like more tactic games. But I like
this is a diplomatic victory as much as anything else. The diplomacy is the real winner in season 6.
It's more that diplomatic because diplomatic is when you can get the agreement with other players about moves. I think this is the meta diplomatic because it was all about having friends more than having the support for a good move.
Were you surprised by anything? What was the biggest surprise for you in this game?
But it was not the surprise. It was the confirmation that Tanyan and Ewok work together all the time. And we had some moves, one against each other, mainly Russia against Turkey, but it was not possible to take profit from the attacks of Russia to Turkey. So Russia had really the good spot, and it was not unfair. It was diplomatically generated, so it's okay.
Okay. Do you think it was a mistake for Tanj to not even attempt to work with you in a game of diplomacy?
Let's say that when there is a winner, he has done well, and all the other has done some mistakes. So if Tanyan doesn't win this game, it means that he had to change something, and considered that he had played with Ewok the whole game, it was his main error. But no, he played very well. At some point, he had recovered from 2 dots to 6 or 7. So it was a really impressive recovery. But he could not go on and stab Russia, creating an even stronger position.
What is your biggest regret of the game?
My biggest regret was not to get Venice from Trieste in 1902 or 1903. So I think if I could make Italy weaker, my game could have been better. But maybe with Turkey and Russia always allied, and Italy against me, I had no chance anyway.
Okay, I know you're by the seaside in France and have to go, but you are leading Nexus. Tell everyone what is in store for Nexus for Season 7. Are you working on tournament format changes? And tell people how to join if they want to. Okay,
we are still discussing about the formula of the tournament. I think we will plan the season, the first phase of the season 7 this fall, so starting from mid-October or November. And I think the main news is that on Backstabber we will have totally anonymous games with secret rosters too, and it will be very interesting because it will be the real hidden identities. While now on Backstabber, you always know who are you are playing against, and so it's quite easy to understand who's who.
It seems to me that in the last year, Nexus has had tremendous growth with gunboat and speedboat tournaments. Tell me your plans for the server in the future for diplomacy.
But we are starting a full press league in these weeks. It's an event that will be continuous the whole year. Every 2 weeks we start a wave, and it's good to give an opportunity for players to play even outside the tournament, the main events. We had some attempt to create games, but without standing. We will have a league with a sort of master game after 1 year of the league with the best 7 players playing in it. And the difference is that we plan to have all games with the public IDs, so you will know who's who.
So just this is just curious question for me, which is last year you qualified for the Diplomacy Broadcast Network Championship Invitational Tournament. You did not play, although some other Nexus players did. But there is a partnership with DBN where you are working a little bit with each other. Why didn't you play? And are you scared of me in face-to-face?
Okay, no, I cannot play in face-to-face because I cannot have 6, 7, 8, 9 hours reserved to playing. I struggle to have a couple of hours to play Speedboat. That is 5 minutes resolution with no negotiations. I read some experiences of players that after 6 or 7 hours had to quit the games, and there were 2 or 3 game years left. So it definitely is not possible for me to have a so long continuous time in my days.
So my press games are not very good these days. Do you have any? You played a game with me. It's our first game together. Tell me what I can do to be better. How can I become as press?
No. I think in that game you were very busy in other stuff at the beginning because you
ordered badly, and I couldn't get Austria or Russia to coordinate. They were too stubborn.
Yeah, you could not convince them, and you were not flexible to match my my offers. So but I saw that I know you are very you are able to have great conversations in that game. Especially at the beginning, your conversations were very short. So I think you had other things to do, or you did not dedicate some more time to that game. When you started, when we started to work together, we had some opportunities, but I think in that moment, France and England were too big, and they had to choose one ally, and I was lucky they've chosen me.
So I was lucky to survive in that game. I'm sorry that you were not lucky enough to survive in this game, but it was entertaining watching you go back and forth and hang on there. Audacious Hand was very upset that you weren't able to do more. I think at some level that had to please you that you finally became friends with Audacious Hand in this tournament, but didn't make it. But thank you so much, Pez.
Audacious Hand as the forecast that I would have died in 1903, and I lasted some more, so I'm not. I'm happy for my game.
Thanks so much for entertaining finals, for running Nexus, and for coming up and answering the tough questions. I'm still waiting to be in the Nexus Hall of Fame for the Diplomats, but it doesn't ever seem to happen. But it's okay. I forgive you, and I look forward to a good season 7.
Thank you, Ed, for this interview.